So it's been a while since I've made a video on Blender or Unreal Engine or any sort of similar tutorial, and I actually have a good reason for that. I was actually moving cities, and so I was doing a lot of work outside of being able to make videos, because if I'm being honest, I kind of make videos more for fun because I like them. I enjoy making those videos. And so yeah, it's been a while since I have uploaded one. Now, as the new year was coming, I actually thought that a lot of people are gonna take New Year resolutions, and we all know how many of them actually follow through those. Most of us just fail to do anything that we decided we were going to do. So I also thought maybe some of you want to take the New Year resolution of actually learning a 3D software, and what other software could be better than to learn Blender, because it's an absolutely free software and you are gonna be able to do a lot with it. With that in mind, I thought I might just make a video on how you can approach learning Blender, and maybe help you with not quitting learning Blender in the first place. Because let's be honest here, when you open Blender, you feel like you are sitting in an alien spaceship. You will not be able to follow through most of the tutorials, and most people just give up on tutorials themselves. So I have divided this video in 5 parts, and I will suggest you and give you tips and solid advices on how to learn Blender. And these are the things that I wish I had a roadmap of if I was learning Blender from scratch. So without any further ado, let's begin. So my first tip is going to be the same one that I used in my video before, and that is to follow through with the donut tutorial of Blender Guru, and then also follow through with the ice cream tutorial of CG Geek. Both of these tutorials are kind of hard, to be honest, but these tutorials are absolutely necessary for you to learn the interface of Blender and to get comfortable with it. The thing is, the donut tutorial of Blender Guru is absolutely amazing in order to actually get familiar with the interface and to be able to apply that skill in order to make something in the future of your own. And for that, Blender Guru's donut tutorial is excellent. The other tutorial that you need to follow is the CG Geeks ice cream tutorial. That is another amazing tutorial and extremely underrated in my own opinion. Now, the ice cream tutorial should be followed after the Blender tutorial. So once you have completed your Blender tutorial, you can go on to that ice cream tutorial. This will help you to build that foundation and then solidify it so that you can do something of your own in the future. Now my second tip, which is kind of going to be a little more controversial because some people might not agree with me, but this thing worked for me and so I'm suggesting it. And that is to learn hard surface modeling. I cannot emphasize how much I was missing out on when I was actually not practicing hard surface modeling, which is why the abandoned house tutorial from Blender Guru can actually come in clutch, because when you finally start to do hard surface modeling, you are finally able to create things that you see in real world, like a mobile phone or maybe a TV screen. Just as simple as that. But hard surface modeling really gives you that confidence that now you can build something of your own. When you learn to use some of the most basic things in hard surface modeling, such as using the bool tool or even just beveling the edges and extruding them, that in itself gives you a lot of confidence as a beginner that you can create almost anything. And I am telling you this, when you learn some basic skills of hard surface modeling, you as a beginner will obviously go out and try those and try to make something that is going to be impossible. But don't get disheartened, because that is where more advanced tutorials of hard surface modeling will come in clutch. What I suggest is that when you start hard surface modeling, start with simple shapes. Maybe make an iPhone, maybe make something like a headphone. These are going to be hard, but they are not going to be unapproachable. After you have completed making these, you can then go on and polish your skills further with making something as complicated as, let's say, a vehicle. You can try making a motorbike, you can try making a car or a sports car, right? So all of these things, all of these skills come under hard surface modeling, and they are absolutely amazing and fun to follow through. The thing is, hard surface modeling is not just fun, it also helps you develop a lot of confidence that you can create something from scratch completely. And the reason why hard surface modeling is generally recommended over sculpting or something like organic modeling is because when you are trying to model organic shapes, it's far harder and it's far scarier. So going from hard surface modeling to then character modeling would not feel as intimidating, even though the principles of both are completely different. Now the third tip that I'm gonna give you, and this is gonna be a bit awkward, and that is to take part in render challenges. Now here's the thing, I could have given you a simple tip of, just go and learn animation. But here's the thing, if you try to learn animation without any real direction, then you won't have any idea of what to make actually. And so what I would recommend is that you join the render challenges from Clint the Punisher, and every year he gives like I think 2 or 3 render challenges. One thing that I would suggest is that you go out and watch the renders video, the all renders video of those render challenges, and in those all renders there are some renders who are made by absolute beginners. But does that mean those renders are meaningless? Absolutely not. Those beginners had the courage to take part in a challenge where absolute pros of 3D making are going to be taking part as well. But here's the thing. You spar with someone who is weaker than you don't learn anything. But if you are in combat sports and you spar with someone stronger than you are going to pick up a lot of their skills as well. And so taking part in these render challenges is going to help you with learning animation, with learning simulations, with learning a lot of things such as destruction, physics, etc. These render challenges will also teach you the time discipline. You only get 1 month approximately to finish these renders, and for that much of amount of time, you will think that you are running short on time, even though you are making just a 5-second animation. And you don't even have to go super hard. You can just ease out and just make something simple and submit it. It's not going to take anything away from you. You are still learning. Yeah, taking part in these render challenges is definitely going to help you a lot, because I could have simply said that go out and practice animation or make simulations, but that doesn't work really, because if you try to do that directly without having any idea of what you might want to create, then it's gonna be useless. You need to learn the skill but also know where to apply it, and for that these render challenges are amazing. Now the fourth tip, and the most boring tip out of all, is that watch more tutorials and references. Even watching those montages from the render challenges. Like, here's the thing, these kind of tips sound boring, but the more tutorials you follow through, such as like let's say you are following through a hard surface modeling tutorial, or maybe you are following through how to make a boot tutorial, which I actually recently looked up on myself as well because I wanted to make a sci-fi boot of sorts. But the point is that when you finally follow through a lot of tutorials, you actually start to learn so many more things that you wouldn't have otherwise figured out. The thing is, most of the people who are making tutorials, especially the advanced pros who are making tutorials such as Aryan or CG Geek or Blender Guru and so many more, all of these people had to learn a lot of skills from complete scratch, and they still did not give up. You are the lucky one. You are getting those tutorials for free, and actually I make a lot of tutorials myself. For example, I made a how to customize your MetaHuman in an advanced way. When you follow through the tutorial that somebody else has made, you potentially fix a lot of problems that you were going to face in the future, while also taking in a lot from their experience. But not only that, following through references is another big thing. When you watch the render montages of render challenges, or if you look up some random images online and try to make your render after it, it actually develops a lot more aesthetic sense in you, because if you are trying to make something completely out of scratch, you might just make something good, but you also might make something that looks like a garbage abstract art. And so generally speaking, having references, I mean, I have been doing Blender for a very long time, but till date I still gather references before I start any project. And so having references is going to give you a strong foundation initially and help you build that blueprint of what you want to make in the future. Now finally speaking, and this is the fifth tip, which is kind of weird because it's not directly related to Blender, but the thing is, Blender and Unreal Engine actually work very well together. And so one of the tips that I give to those people who are beginners to Blender is that once you do learn enough from Blender, once you know how to do some of the advanced things, just move on to learning Unreal Engine as well. Because if I have to predict something, I am gonna say this, but Blender and Unreal Engine are going to be the future of 3D industry. And I'm not even exaggerating this. These two softwares are so good or free of cost that you can do pretty much anything. I mean, there was Unreal Tournament episode in the secret level, and they made all of that in Unreal Engine. The biggest advantage that they talked about was that they rendered the final render of the movie in Lumen of Unreal Engine. And that is where the real advantage of Unreal Engine comes in. It's a speed. Now I do know that not everybody is gonna have a 3090, but here's the thing, Unreal Engine, while it eats up a lot of your VRAM and even your RAM in general, it's still a great software in terms of the final rendering speed. And that is where the real advantage comes in. The way I approach this is basically I make and model everything in Blender, even animations and some simulations, and then export them and completely move them to Unreal Engine. And that is really helpful because once I move them to Unreal Engine, I can render them out significantly faster compared to Blender. And that is where the advantage comes in. If you, let's say, work for a client, you will be able to give them so many more renders just because you are working on Unreal Engine. And so in conclusion, I have seen a lot of tutorials online for beginners, but here's the thing, even as a beginner, you don't actually have any idea of what to do first, right? So there are some tutorial videos which actually give you a roadmap of what things you should be learning, but I wanted to give you a bigger roadmap of what exactly you should follow through. And I cannot guarantee anything, but these are the tips that I wished I knew when I was a beginner, because nobody was there to tell me these. And so I hope you learn Blender or any other 3D software in the year 2026 successfully. And remember, practicing is the key. So just keep practicing and stay at it. And if you are taking the resolution of learning 3D software, then follow through it. Do not give up. If everybody else can do so, why can you not? And so with that, I hope you have a good one.